I actually saw the last night, today. I generally have like a recurring thing that happens, which is like losing my teeth. So basically I was in my mouth, like I was actually, the dream was in my mouth, but my teeth were actually made, you know, like in sea, like corals, so they were corals, so I was, the texture and everything, I don't know, it was like weird, but the back ones were fridges. Like the space was like my tongue and the teeth were corals, and then they were also fridges, and like the fridges had to be removed, and the corals, I remember I took out the corals' teeth, and they like tasted like corals as well. I don't know, it was, yeah, but I really dreamed that my teeth are falling off, but this was the most peculiar out of them all.
My first dream ever that I remember, it's probably not my first one, but which is a nightmare. And I was obsessed with a pair of shoes. I was sleeping with my shoes. I was like maybe like 5 years old. And in my dream, a witch went through the window and took the shoes away from me. They were like little Spanish heeled shoes that you get like to kids in Spain, like to dance flamenco. I got that as a present, I don't know. But they were yellow.
My dream, I usually like, you know, swimming about in the ocean or at the sea, so, and or like walking at the beach, really. So it's kind of like a fantasy, surrealism kind of dream. So it doesn't happen very often, just like occasionally, when, you know, maybe like fall into a deep sleep or anything. So that's, I get my inspiration from, you know, from my art.
Dreamt about being condemned to nothing. Basically, it was like not being put in jail, but my jail was basically nowhere. I could do nothing, I couldn't talk to people, there was nothing around me, it was all pitch dark. And that was really scary because I couldn't interact with anybody, so it was really scary.
It was taking place in the college where I studied art when I was like a teenager, in the empty parts of the buildings. The thing I can't remember is whether or not I was getting hunted down by Terminators or zombies, but it's going to be one of the two. And my dreams tend to be basically being hunted by Terminators or zombies, and very cinematic. So there's some good shots, there's some cuts, like sometimes I'm impressed by the cinematography of my dreams, but they're definitely based in, I guess, 80s cinema and those kind of tropes.
I have dreams about hand dryers quite often, definitely more than most people. But I had a dream where I was in this very clean, very ornate hotel bathroom, and it was crystalline and clear and quite big and spacious, and I was the only one in there. And I went to use the hand dryer. It was a Manrose hand dryer, which same model as this. And I can't remember what it said to me, but we had a long conversation. It had a very deep voice, I remember that. And I woke up and I thought, that's probably not the first time I've had that dream. That's the first time I've remembered it.
I dreamt recently that I was in a place that the road was kind of like replaced with like this huge chasm. So there was just this big kind of like hole where you could fall down. And the only way to get across it was to go on one of those kind of like carousel kind of wheels. So, you know, like a thing that goes round like that. But it wasn't moving, so you had to jump from each carriage onto the other thing. It was really horrific. I hate heights so much.
Okay, so this is a more serious one. I used to have bed bugs in the summer in my previous house, and since I moved out, I'm really paranoid that I brought it to my new house. But like, let's say like every time I change bed sheets, I always like inspect. I haven't found anything, but literally since moving out, like the first week or like 5 days, I dream that I find bed bugs in my house. I found them everywhere, but they were dead. I was telling my housemates, like, guys, I actually brought bed bugs, and they were not believing me, and they were like, oh, it's fine, but it's not fine, you can't just like, so I was like really stressed in the dream, and I remember there was this like close-up image where I was like inspecting what it is, and it was like this little crumbs, and I pick it up with like a thing, and it was I look at it and I see that it's like a shell of a, I don't know, this a shell of a bedbug. It's super gross, but it's been 5 months since I have moved out and I still like dream about this